This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everyone. I was just reading a little while ago that Rod Stewart is taking lessons in something. Iconic singer, Rod Stewart. He's taking lessons in menopause to better support his wife who is going through it. I thought that was actually really cool. I mean, many men I don't have a clue what's going on there. And also a challenge for women too, because there's so many changes that take place potentially over years. We are going to talk about that today with somebody who actually helps women, supports them through that journey. She's a women's intimacy and empowerment coach, and it's so great to have her back with us. Teja Valentin is back on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm good. It's a little rainy, a little cloudy, but I'm good.
We have the same weather. I don't know. It must be going up the coast. You're in South Carolina. I'm in New York. There's actually go a little
Yes.
bit north of New York where I
Yeah.
am. They're going to get a lot of snow. I'm guessing
No,
nothing like that down there by you, right?
no, thank goodness.
Have you ever seen snow in South Carolina? You must have at some point, right?
There has been, yeah, but I'm
Hmm.
fairly new, so no, I haven't. I haven't experienced it yet. I've
Gotcha.
only been here 3 months.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that you see a lot of women with challenges related to menopause. Would that be right?
True. Very true. Yeah, this is the main age group that I see come to me for different things. They're either like in perimenopause, menopause, and a lot of the issues that I'm noticing and really has to do more like with hormones. They're not feeling themselves. They're not feeling. Feel blah. They don't know why. What's happening. They're not really content in their marriage or where they are in their career, job, and so of course my question is, and then how about your intimacy? Where are you on that? And they're like, oh, don't even get me started on that. So like that's a whole nother
Mm.
category that sometimes may not be the priority, but it's there. It may actually be their partner's priority. That's the biggest thing that they notice, right? And so they actually will say that to me. And I said, well, what do you want to do about it? And they're like, well, I don't know. I mean, like that's not what I'm thinking about. So my job is to evaluate, where she's at, what are her priorities are, and what is the resistance? What is the like, is it something that she does want to change, or is it because her partner said, I don't understand you, you better, do something about it, and then that's why she comes to see me. So we kind of get to the bottom of what is most important for her and what's actually physically happening, and then also emotionally, and then I go in all the realms, spiritually, energetically, what is happening.
That's got to be, Tasia, such a challenge for you because there's so many different stages of menopause. I mean,
Yeah.
you get a premenopause. Somebody could be 44 and it's just starting to affect them. Um,
Yeah.
so I imagine this
Yeah,
is a span of many years.
perimenopause, menopause. I think there is, from in my experience, there is a relief like after like once you've officially hit menopause, and this is the stage where now you've kind of went beyond all the physical, and now you're noticing more of the spiritual and changes. Like, so now you feel a little more connected to nature, that you want to know, go travel, you want to, start your own business. And here, that's where more of the like enlightenment, or I don't know, that's for lack of a better word, that's the word that came in, where you are. But before that, you have to go through all the muck, like
Mm.
the hormones and the fatigue, the brain fog, all of it, so I'm very well versed in all of that. So
So I'm
and
intrigued about the spiritual side of things, and
yeah,
just let's put it out there. It's my disclaimer. So many people equate spiritual or spirituality with religion. Not what we're talking about. If you want to connect it,
no,
that's your prerogative, and that's all good.
no.
Would you find that some women that go through menopause have a new sense of spiritualism, maybe before they ever did?
Yes, definitely. Spirituality and as well as sexuality. They're actually like, I find them in like, it's almost like an oxymoron. Like they're not really, that's not their priority right now. But yet, when I have discussions with them, they're actually discussing like, I've never done that. I've never tried this, and I really think that would be a cool thing to do. It's just something that they've always put in the back, like not as a priority, and now they're looking to do something different. Maybe it could be I don't know, like maybe it's a sex toy, maybe it's something new with the boyfriend or the husband or whatever that they're considering. And because it's like a time of shakeup almost. It's like they're getting rid of like the old life, their mom life, their or even like wife. A lot of times they find themselves in a situation where maybe they're not married, maybe they're widowed, maybe they're, so now it's more of a me time.
Mm.
I find that now there's more, the children are grown up. The children are, not quite as hands-on, so that it frees up time for the woman to now figure herself out. And so definitely spirituality and sexuality are like the two biggie things that I always end up talking about with the client because they're very well familiar with, the everyday, normal, but they're curious about those two things that seems
Mm.
very right where they're at the stage in life that they're at.
Well, I think that, and tell me if this is on track. I think the perception is that menopause has symptoms. You got to ride that wave, get to the other side. But many people, not just women, don't realize that it is a true transition, as you just said. You're transitioning from one part of life to another part of life where you may be open to things, maybe the spiritual side of things. And what could that be? That could be walking in nature. That could be reading some books. That we're not talking about has to be like super woo stuff here. Nothing wrong with
Right.
that. But it's a transition. You think that it's viewed more of symptoms and problematic as opposed to just a change in direction in life.
Yeah. There's also a that's also a time where you that age would be considered almost like a crone, like the wise woman, the or even like the medicine woman, the elder, like way
Mm.
back when, right? Like that's the person you would go to for advice or medicinal or they're like that wisdom keeper, like they've got all the knowledge.
And but this would be a woman that has been through menopause.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Hmm.
So then oh, there is a saying, the maiden is the flower, I'm forgetting. It goes from flower to like a seed, basically. So in the different phases of life, and it's the elder, like the around menopause, where you've no longer childbearing, that you have and hold the most potential. You
Mm.
know, so that is positive, nice to know that we have something to look forward to because now our ideas, everything, there's more time, there's more of a an opening to dive into those things that we never really allowed ourselves to before because of, you know, the ordinary daily things.
It
Yeah.
seems that you look at it, or you instill in women to try and look at it as more of a positive than a negative thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was for me. I through perimenopause, I never had not had a period. I mean, I was like always anemic and no energy, and I was always tired, and I always felt guilty with the kids, not spending enough time with them, and those kinds of things. And now, like, you know, after I got divorced, I took them to Yellowstone Park. Let's go. Let's travel. Let's, you know, like now all of a sudden I'm fun. I want to go hiking. I want to do things. So, and so they saw the change. You know, they've seen the change, and you know, my even my sex life like really jumped up because all of a sudden now I had a partner that was willing to try things. And
Hmm.
you know, so I wasn't able to do that when I was married. So that is like a big, it got me here actually. It was before I became a coach. And that's what opened my eyes. I was like, wow, you know what? This is me. I can't even imagine. Because I talk to my friends, they're all the same age as me, and they're all kind of in the same boat. But me going down my path, I was able to change that. And I'm not saying you have to be a, you know, a sex relationship coach, but if you're just more coming from the perspective of curiosity, well, let me see that. Let me try that. You know,
Mm.
maybe it's a new class. Maybe it's a dance class or improv class or you know, something like that that is going to take you a little bit out of your comfort zone, but not totally overwhelm you. So that,
Just on the improv thing, I know a number of people. By the way, most of them women, and I'd say three-quarters of them are now in their 50s, and one, in fact, who is, I want to say, actually 53, just did an improv class last week, and all the others have done them as well. Loved it. Loved it. Got him out of the comfort zone, builds confidence. The one that I'm referring to just now, her husband, and I'm great friends with him. He did it like, I don't know, probably like 4 years ago, and she finally got around to doing it, and it was amazing. And probably, unless she would have never known unless he did it. But we're talking about it today. You might want to just, open up,
yeah,
broaden
it's
your
on my
horizons.
bucket list. It's totally on my bucket list.
Yeah, this is no judgment. It's all in fun. There's other people doing it with you. It's not like, you're the
Right.
opening act at a comedy club. And they teach you how to do it, and you have an act. You have content. It's not like
Yeah.
go out there and start talking. No, it's all good. But yeah, it's just
And
something different.
this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So we are opening ourselves to more opportunity, to more fulfillment. So it doesn't matter what we're talking, like what how you get there, but this is that stage of life where there's so much there's so many possibilities. And working with me, obviously we work on your pleasure and being really embodied, and what is it that, because a lot of women also are almost like too shy or embarrassed by what they really really want, you
Mm,
know. So I'm always like digging, well, what's behind that, and what led you to that. And then usually what ends up happening is we uncover something that either they kind of knew but just didn't let themselves feel it or say it out loud. And sometimes when they do say it, it's almost like, oh my gosh, like I'm embarrassed that I said that, and once we talk it out, they're like, okay, their nervous system has like calmed down, and then they like, okay, so what would be the first step? We just kind of like do a scenario. What would be the first step to that?
mm.
And then, so imagine that you have that. What does that feel like in your body? Okay, what's the step after that? And so that they can discern whether that is exciting is it a good scary, or like they're totally feeling freaked out and maybe it's a no. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Yeah.
Totally. How do you get a woman to open up a little bit more about things that she wants in life, no matter what they are?
Well, we every session begins with like a little check-in. What are you desiring? What's your fear? And we kind of play with that, and it could change. And also when I do a celebration, a desire, and a fear, and so sometimes just them naming it
Mm.
brings some makes them more conscious of it, and they're like, wow, I've never even said that out loud. I've never even told anyone,
Mm.
but they're hanging on to it. It's important enough for them to still have it in their head. And so I'm like, interesting. So what made you say that now? And they're like, well, I don't know. I don't think I could have done it before, but now I'm here, and I'm, I'm here with you, and now I feel like it's time for me to do something about it, which
Would
is,
you say that step one may be to write these things down, things that you're thinking, maybe
yeah,
things that you want to attain, and then, and it sounds kind of crazy, but I believe it's true, say it out loud. Don't have to say, and nobody has to be around, but say it out loud because number one, writing it, not typing it, scientifically proven the connection between the mind and the hand, it's almost like you're a quarter of the way there. It's
right.
now it appears to be real. Then when you say it, the energetic vibration comes out,
Yeah,
and that just kind of cements the validity of it. So it doesn't seem as either scary or unapproachable or unattainable. Now it seems like, oh, yeah, that seems more real to me now.
totally. I agree 100%. I mean, I'm a big journaler, and I found like when I moved here, like right 3 months ago, I found a journal of all my
Hmm.
desires of what I wanted to do. And I have to say, I was three-quarters checked off, and I was like so impressed. So even if baby steps, like what feels good to you. So if you can at
Sure.
least write it down, then get to the point where you're saying it out loud, put it in the mirror, right? So that you're seeing it. It's so you're not going to forget it. You're always going to see it, and kind of get comfortable with what you actually wrote. And then I'm all about safety, in the body. So it's like, so now you can like breathe. Oh, okay. And then you start to find that you get excited. It's not a thing like,
Hmm.
yeah, that's going to happen like way down the line. Instead, what happens is, yeah, I can't wait. I think I might, look into it, something like that. That's usually what happens.
I heard recently that the feeling you get from fear is the same as excitement. Yeah?
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Hmm.
True.
Wow. Isn't it so funny? Like the things you walk away from, the feeling is the same as the things that you really want. It's just in a different shape and form. What's your advice,
Yeah.
Teja, to a woman that I don't know if it would be different advice in terms of different stages, but somebody going through menopause or maybe pre, what's your overall advice?
I would really do a good quality like check-in with yourself, Like if there was nothing holding you back, like what is it that you truly, truly desire, right? And then really sit with that. How does that feel in your body? Breathe.
Mm.
And notice what part of your body lights up or maybe contracts. And if you get the butterflies, but you kind of have that like giddy, underneath, then that's most likely a yes, If it's like a full like, oh, like I don't know, I don't like that, I'm not ready for that. Then I would say I always have paper lists and stuff. So just drop it down, What can you do be in front of that might feel better, that still would excite you, and start to like get comfortable with doing those things that excite you, but in a good way. And then eventually, with once you checked off a couple things, then it makes you a little more comfortable. And so then you can say, all right, now I think I'm ready to look at the next thing.
Would you say that it's impactful or very useful to regularly check in? Maybe not to that depth, but just basically you're driving the car. You could even talk to yourself. Like, how you feeling today? What's going on with you? Oh, well,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm overall good. I had a work situation, wasn't the best. Well, tell me about that. How did it go? Well, the boss came in and he wasn't happy about something, but he misunderstood what was going on. Like literally without anybody around. Talk to yourself. Check in on a regular basis.
Right. I do that with writing,
Mm.
like I have a journal, and it is true because I'll go back every now and then. I'll flip back, kind of just like like a deck of cards, like you just pull a card for the day.
Yep.
Sometimes I will open up my journal and just read what I wrote for that day, for my
Mm.
day now, currently, and go, huh, isn't that something? That was like so big back then, and now it's like nothing.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, right? I didn't think it was anything big, and now it's what do you call it? Under the bridge.
I'm going to commit to myself here based on what you're saying, Tasia. Tonight, I have a quieter night coming up. I'm going to write in my journal. I haven't done it in a while. I have a gratitude journal. Last 2 days I've been busy. Try to do it in the morning. I will say this, that in the regular journal, I found myself not doing it so much anymore because I found myself being negative. Like it was a dumping ground. And it's like, that friend who's like, oh, here they come again, Debbie Downer. I started seeing a pattern there, and then I didn't want to write in it. Like I don't want to hear myself again, so I twisted it around. So it's a blend of the good stuff and the challenging things.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel you there. It usually does start off sometimes negative. The longer I write, I empty myself like onto
Mm.
the page, and then it gets lighter and lighter, like more positive and more positive.
Hmm.
So it's like your safe place to
Vent.
dump the
Yeah,
negative,
that's it. That's
right?
it. Yeah, word vomit if you need to, and
Right.
and most importantly, as I found, and um, I almost became a syndicated cartoonist back in the day. And so my penmanship, my handwriting is pretty neat, but I got away from that to the point where I'm laying in bed. I'm like, I don't even half the time I'm like, I don't even know what I'm writing. And if I'll figure it out if I reflect back to it. But it's just dumping as much as possible without a thought. Just let it all flow, let it all go without any. Just don't even worry about it. Just keep going.
Yeah, that's what I would say. That's what I
Mm,
basically I do.
yeah.
And then usually at some point, not every time, but I will do exactly what I was saying earlier, like I'm celebrating that I did this today for the first time. And then I still am a little scary about, talking in public and so things like that. And then I like it's kind of cool when you can go like a few pages later, like a month later, and you go, oh wow, I actually had the opportunity to do that, and it was actually okay. So then
Mm,
I can cross that off. It is very nice.
I totally agree. And it also builds resilience that you see in yourself of the progression, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we do work on also in coaching is resilience. And I find that we don't give ourselves enough credit for our resilience.
Yep.
And sometimes you need, someone to reflect back. And, as someone is in front of me and they're telling me, the story, why they wanted help, because this, that. And I'm like, hold on. You just said that you were afraid to do this, but then you did this? Like, that seems more scary to me. And they're like, oh, well, I guess it was, but I wasn't thinking about it that way at that time. But then when you're being like witness, you can then claim it. Wow, I guess I really did that, huh? You know?
Mm.
So that's one of the beauties of being witnessed in coaching, or even a good friend could do that, but definitely it's very interesting. I don't think we give enough credit to ourselves.
I completely agree. We don't celebrate the wins. And if you take a look at even the last 6 months, the last year, we're at the end, almost the end of the year. Go back
Yeah.
and take a look at what has transpired. I think we'd be very surprised that, oh my gosh, I overcame that. I took care of that. I got that done. And that's why the journal, I think, is so important to remember those things. What's the best way to find you? Let's say you're a woman going through menopause or just challenges or want somebody to walk the coaching journey.
Sure. TejaValentin.com. Very easy. My name.
And that's TejaValentin.com.
And then you jump on my calendar for a call, free call, and we'll have a little chat.
Beautiful. Thank you for being here today and talking about something that a lot of people don't go into depth, and it's it's a natural occurrence for women,
Right.
i.e. menopause. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk soon. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.